Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our annual organizational meeting. We're going to start with the swearing-in ceremony of our newly elected supervisor, Dan Allett. He'll be sworn in by Judy Zelina, our Director of Public Services.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, bring your family up. They've been behind you for quite a while, so you got to have them behind you right now. That would be perfect. Okay, you ready for the big moment here? Okay, Dan, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Daniel Ouellette, do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties of supervisor
and I will discharge the duties of supervisor
in Millcreek Township, Erie County, with fidelity.
in Millcreek Township, Erie County, with fidelity.
Congratulations, Supervisor Ouellette.
Thank you, Judy. Senator Dan Laughlin is here today, and he would just like to say a few words.
First off, thanks for coming, everybody. This is an exciting morning for Millcreek Township. Before I even start, I'd like to say a thank you for the service that John Groh put in as supervisor for 6 years. He's a nice guy, and we thank him for his service. I want to thank Dan Ouellette for throwing his hat in the ring. And if there's one quote that you can take away from today, that would be that when you elect good people, good things happen. And I can't think of a better person than Dan Ouellette, especially backed up by his wife. I think they're going to do great things for this township. And that's really mostly what I have to say. I don't want to be too long. I know you got to keep it short. So thank you, and congratulations, Dan.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator. Our next order of business is election of a temporary chairman. I would like to nominate John Morgan as temporary chairman. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Ouellette, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes.
Thank you, gentlemen. With that, I will call the organization meeting of Millcreek Township for January 6, 2020 to order at 9:03 a.m. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next order of business is nomination for an election of chairman. Do I hear any nominations for chairman of the Board of Supervisors?
I nominate Jim Bach as chairman.
I will second the nomination. Mr. Ouellette, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Congratulations, Mr. Bach, and you are now chairman of the board.
Thank you, John.
Oh, you gotta put your name plaque up.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Our next order of business will be nomination for an election of vice chairman. I would like to nominate John Morgan for vice chairman for the 2020 year.
I'll second that nomination.
Mr. Ouellette, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next, we have a series of appointments. First, I will call for an appointment of the Township Secretary.
Mr. Chairman, I nominate Cheryl Williams as Township Secretary.
I'll second that.
Mr. Owlett, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next, call for appointment for Township Treasurer.
Make a motion we appoint Mark Zuchewski as Township Treasurer.
I'll second that.
Mr. Owlett, your vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Call for an appointment for Township Engineer.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we appoint Ann Sokol as Township Engineer.
I'll second that motion.
Mr. Owlett, your vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Next is nomination for Township Solicitor.
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion we appoint McDonald, Illick, Jones, and Britton, LLP, with Mark Shaw as principal contact as our Township Solicitor.
I'll second that.
Mr. Owlett, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, your vote?
I vote yes.
I also vote yes. Next is appointment for Municipal Administrator of Township Operations.
Make a motion we appoint Supervisor James Bach as Municipal Administrator of Public Safety. I'm sorry,
Yes, that's
I make a motion to appoint James Bach as Municipal Administrator of Public Safety.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Owlett, your vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, your vote?
I vote yes.
I also vote yes. Next is Municipal Administrator Township Operations.
I'll make a motion to nominate Supervisor John Morgan to the position of Township Operations Municipal Administrator.
Is there a second? I'll second that. Mr. Owlett, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, your vote?
I vote yes.
I also vote yes. Next is Municipal Administrator, Public Works and Services.
I make a motion we appoint Supervisor Dan Olette as Municipal Administrator of Public Works and Services.
I'll second that. Mr. Morgan, your vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Owlett, your vote?
I vote yes.
I also vote yes. Next is the appointment of delegate and alternate delegate to the 2020 PSAT State Conference.
Make a motion to appoint Supervisor Dan Olette as the delegate to our 2020 PSAT State Conference and Supervisor James Bach as the alternate to the conference.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Owlett, your vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, your vote?
I vote yes.
I also vote yes. Next is nominating member of the Cato Executive Committee for 2020.
Make a motion that we appoint James Bach as the Cato Executive Committee member for 2020.
I'll second that.
Mr. Owlett, your vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, your vote?
I vote yes.
I also vote yes. Next is representative and alternate representative for the Erie Area Council of Government, the ECOG, for this year.
Make a motion that we appoint Dan Olette as the board's representative to the Erie Area Council of Governments for 2020.
I will second that. Mr. Owlett, your vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, your vote?
I vote yes.
I also vote yes.
Mr. Chairman, I further make a motion to appoint Gary Snyder and yourself, James Bach, as the alternates to the Erie Area Council of Governments for 2020.
Okay, I'll second that. Mr. Owlett, your vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, your vote?
I vote yes.
I also vote yes on that. Next is representative and alternate representative to the Lake Erie Coastal Zone Advisory Committee for the upcoming year.
Make a motion we appoint Matthew Waldinger, Director of Planning, and Emma George, Township Project Engineer, as the representative and alternate representative to the Coastal Zone Committee.
Okay.
I will second that.
Mr. Owlett, your vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, your vote?
I vote yes.
I also vote yes on that. Next is the voting representative, number one, and alternate to the Erie Metropolitan Planning Organization, the Erie MPO Coordinating Committee.
I'll make a motion that nominate Supervisor John Morgan in his capacity as municipal administrator, and Emma George, project engineer, be appointed voting representative 1 and alternate to the Erie Metropolitan Planning Organization Coordinating Committee for 2020.
Okay, is there a second to that? I'll second it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Owlett, your vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, your vote?
I'll vote yes.
I will also vote yes. Next is the voting representative number 2 and alternate to the Erie Metropolitan Planning Organization.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would move that we appoint Matthew Aldinger, Director of Planning, and John Sebesta, Project Engineer, as the voting representative and alternate to the Erie MPO Coordinating Committee.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
Okay. Mr. Owlett, your vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, your vote?
I vote yes.
I also vote yes. Next is the voting representative and alternate to the Erie Metropolitan Planning Organization Technical Advisory Committee for this year.
Mr. Chairman, I move the Planning Development Director, Matthew Waldinger, and Supervisor John Morgan be appointed voting representative and alternate to the Erie Metropolitan Planning Organization Technical Advisory Committee for 2020.
Okay, I will second that. Mr. Owlett, your vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, your vote?
I vote yes.
I also vote yes. Okay. Turning to financial matters, next item is establishing a bond for the treasurer for 2020.
I move that the bond for the treasurer be established and maintained at $1 million for 2020.
I'll second that.
Mr. Owlett, your vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, your vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Moving on to the fund depositories for the upcoming year. We have a series of fund depositories here.
Mr. Chairman, just for clarification, Mr. Shaw, should we list all of these or just announce that these are made available for the public?
I think I would announce the entities.
Okay,
I don't know that we need to go through each individual account. There's certainly a
Okay.
document reflecting the accounts that are before each of the supervisors for consideration, but I think I would identify the accounts and funds that are being authorized.
Okay, for the 2020 fund depositories, we have PNC Bank, First National Bank of Pennsylvania, Citizens Bank, Northwest Savings Bank, Newberger Berman Private Equity Fund, Gannett, Welsh and Kotler, Vanguard International Growth Fund, DFA International Core Fund, Multi-Employer Property Trust, Wells Fargo Capital Management Fund, and Erie Bank.
Mr. Chairman,
I would like to also note that on the payroll account for the Erie Bank, that it requires 2 signatures, 1 supervisor and the treasurer, because we can't fit 4 signatures in the block stamp.
Okay, so noted. Thank you, Mark. Do I hear a motion to approve the fund depositories for 2020?
I'll make a motion to approve the fund depositories for 2020, and as noted for, as Mr. Zaszewski's commentary, I would further move that the chairman be the signature author, the signatory for the Erie Bank account.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Mr. Owlett, your vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, your vote?
I vote yes.
I also vote yes. Next up is the insurance carriers for 2020. They are our workers' compensation insurance, property, general liability, and automobile.
Mr. Chairman, I would note that for property, general liability, and automobile, it's with McGowan Governmental Underwriters, and the workers' comp is with Trust Agreement of Municipal Risk Management MRM Trust for the Workers' Comp Pool Trust.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Do I hear a motion to approve the insurance carriers for the upcoming year?
I move to approve the insurance carriers for 2020.
And I will second that.
Mr. Owlett, your vote.
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, your vote.
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay, up next is a treasurer's bond to the auditors, to the Millcreek Township Board of Auditors. And this is an annual thing that we do. For the township secretary to provide to the Board of Auditors written notice of the appointments of the municipal administrators and their respective employee responsibilities, and also confirm the board's establishment of a bond for the treasurer in the amount fixed. Okay.
Make a motion to authorize the board submit the written notice to the auditors.
I will second that.
Mr. Owlett, your vote.
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, your vote.
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay, next is Resolution 2020 R1. This is a resolution amending Resolution 2016 R-8, Millcreek Township Tax Collection Committee Voting Delegate Appointment Resolution. Do I hear a motion to adopt this resolution?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we adopt Resolution 2020 R1, which states that we will be appointing the treasurer as our primary voting delegate, the assistant treasurer as our first alternate. You guys snuck in the vice chairman as the second alternate. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that.
It's our duty.
I will second that.
Mr. Owlett, your vote.
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, your vote.
I vote yes.
I also vote yes. Okay, next up is the committee and commission appointments. First up is the Board of Appeals and Fire Code. I was just going to cover these kind of as a blanket. That's okay.
When you say blanket,
I'm going to announce the entity and then the individuals as well, and just go
And
through
then-
the entire
that's fine.
list.
yeah.
Okay, so for Board of Appeals and Fire Code, we have Guy Santone, a new appointment, Dean Wilson as the alternate, new appointment, and Edward Betza, Esquire, a reappointment. For the Erie County Tax Collection Committee, Mark Zaszewski, delegate, reappointment, Melanie Page, first alternate appointment, and John Morgan, vice chair, as second alternate appointment.
Happy to serve.
Those are one-year terms expiring January 15th of next year. Fire and Emergency Service Commission, reappointment of John Marsden to a 3-year term expiring January 15th of 2023. Our Parks and Rec Commission, Nicolina Pierce is a reappointment for a 5-year term expiring January 15th of 2025. The Planning Commission, a reappointment of Linda McCabe. It's a 4-year term expiring January 15th of 2024. Recycling, Education, and Advisory Committee. We have Stephen G. Cornelius, Carl Kronmiller, Janine Fennel, Kenneth C. Fromknecht, Dana James, Mary Beth Santucci, Maria Spagnola, Jessica Stutzman, Sean Stutzman, Ray Walkama, and Judy Zelina. Those are 1-year terms expiring January 15th of 2021. The UCC Appeal Board, David Rhodes, Esquire, reappointment for a 1-year term expiring January 15th of 2021. On the vacancy board, we have Reverend John Dedish from St. Jude Church. He is a reappointment to a one-year term expiring January 15th of 2021. And the Zoning Hearing Board, Michael Martin is a reappointment to a 3-year term expiring January 15th of 2023. And 2 alternates, Scott Calhoun and Richard Perhax, Esquire. 1-year terms expiring January 15th of 2021.
Just a clarification, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Mr. Attorney Perhax is the solicitor, not an alternate, just to clarify
okay.
that.
Okay, yes. Thank you, Mark.
I think it's further, I believe David Rose, the UCC Appeal Board
Is
is
also-
the solicitor
They're also
for the appeal board.
Correct.
And we've Ed
Ed
Betza
Betza.
is the solicitor, will be the solicitor for the Board of Appeals for Fire Code.
Correct.
Okay, thank you, John.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to appoint and reappoint those individuals as you've stated.
I will second that motion.
Mr. Owlett, your vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, your vote?
How about yes?
And I also vote yes. Next up is our meeting schedule for 2020. The regular meetings of the Board of Supervisors will be held on the second Tuesday of each month at 9:30 a.m., except in December, and the fourth Tuesday of each month at 7 p.m., except on November 24th, when the meeting will begin at 9:30 a.m., and on December 15th, when the meeting will begin at 7 p.m. Do I hear a motion to approve the 2020 meeting schedule?
So moved.
I will second that.
Mr. Owlett, your vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, your vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Any other business, gentlemen, on the organization meeting?
Just want to say congratulations, Mr. Olet, and welcome aboard.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations, Dan. Mr. Shaw, anything else?
I think we probably should at least reference the meetings of the other commissions and boards of the township as well.
Okay. Okay, in addition to our meetings, the Township Zoning Hearing Board will meet on the last Wednesday of each month at 7 p.m., with no meeting in November, but a meeting on December 2nd. The Millcreek Township Planning Commission will meet the first Tuesday of each month at 7 p.m., except in November, when they will meet on the second Tuesday of the month. The Millcreek Township Park and Recs Commission will meet on the first Wednesdays of February, April, June, August, October, and December at 7 p.m. The Millcreek Township Recycling Education Advisory Committee will meet on the following Thursdays, May 7th and October 1st at 5 p.m. Fire and Emergency Medical Service Commission will meet quarterly on the third Thursdays of January, April, July, and October at 7 p.m. The Pension Committee will meet quarterly at 9 a.m. on Thursdays, February 20th, May 20th, August 20th, and November 19th in the East Conference Room. All other meetings are held in the Assembly Room at the Township Building here on West 26th Street. Very good. Do we need to do a motion on that, or just in addition to?
Probably should do a motion, that way
Okay.
they're official.
Do I hear a
'cause then
motion
they
to
get
approve?
published.
Motion to approve the meeting schedules of the township's boards and commissions.
I'll second that motion.
Mr. Owlett, your vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, your vote?
I vote yes.
I also vote yes. Thank you. This adjourns our organizational meeting. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, at 9:24. We now have a light reception out in the lobby for Mr. Owlett, and our regular meeting will be held at 10 a.m. today. Thank you.